Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Today, we're going to be doing the discussion video on Solemn Strike. Is it really a terrible card? Now, before we actually get into Solemn Strike being relevant into this meta, I think we should go about the logistics and its history. Solemn Strike is a counter trap card that debuted in Breakers of Shadow. Its effect reads, when a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, pay 1500 life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy this card. Now, Solemn Strike is a clear descendant of its predecessors, Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment. It's a watered down version effect as it only negates the activation of an effect monster or a summon of a monster, meaning that it can't necessarily stop a card that would special summon a monster unless it's a monster effect. Now, if we look at its first predecessor, or its second predecessor, Solemn Warning, its effect clearly states pay 2000 life points, negate the summon of a monster or the activation of a spell, trap, or monster's effect that includes the effect of a special summoning monster and destroy that card. That gives Solemn Warning a lot more free range than Solemn Strike, but then again, Solemn Warning is limited. Its first predecessor is Solemn Judgment. It says when a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card is activated, pay half your life points, negate the activation or summon of a monster, and if you do, destroy that card. Those two cards are infinitely more powerful than Solemn Strike. Solemn Judgment being able to negate any spell and trap and then having almost no life point cost because you can always pay for it. Solemn Warning being able to negate almost every summon in the world, actually any summon in the world. Solemn Strike is a little bit more resource limited as it can't stop the special summons of cards through effects like spell cards. Such if I were to monster reborn a monster, my opponent can't activate Solemn Strike. Genuinely, the only reason why you can Solemn Strike the effect of a Cosmo Pilot is because you can stop an effect with Solemn Strike. So that's the only reason why it's good in that essence. But we're not here to talk about its predecessors. We're here to talk about how Solemn Strike impacts the meta. Unfortunately for Solemn Strike, it is a counter trap card. And counter means amazing, but trap card means bad. So if you go second and if you open up with multiple counter trap cards, you're probably not doing well. Now, here comes a card that kind of mitigates that and why it's been seeing very competitive play. Card of Demise allows you to draw extra cards depending on you not having cards in your hand. So for example, if I draw 5 traps, I can set off, or 4 traps actually, I can set my 4 traps, activate Card of Demise, draw 2 more cards, and then set that trap and then continue on with my strategy. Card of Demise has been a really good card for traps when you're going second because it allows you to reload and gain extra cards that you need for those resources to actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! Other than that, Solemn Strike is extremely limited going second because your opponent probably has already established a board that you probably would have wanted to activate Solemn Strike on. Going first, Solemn Strike is probably one of the most amazing cards in the game. It's a blowout. It is a complete win if you stop the right cards or if your opponent doesn't have cards like Twin Twisters or Mystical Space Typhoon. Ultimately, Solemn Strike is an awesome card and it's backed up by an amazing card called Guiding Ariadne for the Pepe players. What Guiding Ariadne does, its pendulum effect says, apply these effects. You do not pay life points for counter trap cards. You do not have to discard for counter trap cards. So ultimately, Solemn Strike becomes a free negation in the form of a searchable card through the exact same Guiding Ariadne. Its monster effect is, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can reveal 3 counter trap cards from your deck. Your opponent chooses one of those and add it to your hand. You then shuffle the rest back into your deck. Guiding Ariadne has no restrictions, so you can activate it multiple times in one turn. As long as you get to destroy it, then you're pretty good to go. This is what Pepe players tend to abuse the most because Solemn Strike is a searchable counter trap card that is in the form of a level 4 pendulum monster. So, I mean, it's almost like a match made in heaven. Another card that players tend to opt to use is Chaos Trap Hole. Now, Chaos Trap Hole has a little bit different dimensions than Solemn Strike, and it is better in some areas. What Chaos Trap Hole says is pay 2,000 life points, negate the summon of a light or dark monster, and remove it from play. Now, I know you guys haven't heard remove it from play in a very long time, but Chaos Trap Hole actually gets rid of threats permanently, whereas Solemn Strike would more often than not send it to the graveyard, triggering the effect of cards like Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss. Chaos Trap Hole permanently removes the threat, and you'll probably won't see it again because banishing or messing with the banished zone isn't used as often as it used to be. Ultimately, Solemn Strike isn't necessarily a terrible card when used in conjunction with a lot of other great cards, but that just might change your strategy. If you're playing Solemn Strike outright in your deck, you're probably in a losing position going second. Well, thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. If you guys enjoyed this series, please list some cards down below that you want me to ask, or go into the description if it's a terrible card. Most importantly, I want to know your opinion about Solemn Strike. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.